We're back. So, last time, working on this and had some trouble with getting the layout set up correctly. And I use that word because that is the object that was messing with how things were handled. So, when you create a new JPanel here, let's go to the actual constructor. And I just lost my second monitor immediately. But you go to the constructor, it makes a new flow layout. And then let me see if I can get my other monitor back. Oh man, why did it have to go as soon as I started streaming? What's that about? If we click this button here, go blank for a second, but hopefully comes back, and then I can see everything. And you don't see any interruption apparently on the stream, so that's good. All right, so yes, back. It was this set layout. So if we just set that to null, I also added a border around all the components just to help with debugging. So you can see these are all the labels. The labels before didn't have a border around them or anything. The text fields obviously have their own little box so you could tell where they are. And then the JFrame is there. So that was just part of helping with debugging, is giving each of these a little border. And you just create a new line border, give it a color, and I just made it 2 as the size. But the main thing that was changed was right here, set layout to null, because we're not going to use any predefined layouts or anything like this where it, it tries to figure out the positioning for us, as if you're like dropping a bunch of images into a Word doc with the auto positioning thing on. All right, so now that that was sorted, I don't actually remember what I was working on before that, but with things as they are, this is mostly good. Now this is right up against the top because it's 0 as the first position. So I think we've got one list, right? But we have another list that's in memory. So let's try to work on the paging for now. And let's get the paging so that we can go from 1 page, obviously, in the booklet to 2. So we don't need all those methods anymore. They've been moved into the page renderer. Yes. So now we need a booklet renderer. So let's just make something like that. Okay. This is going to be similar to the page renderer in that it has its own, well, maybe not. So the main one here is the frame, right? So the frame is the whole window. So I'm thinking within that we'll have a booklet, and then within the booklet will be all of these. So yeah, let's make a panel for this. This will be the book panel. All right, and so what we can do is either we maintain a list here that we can add and remove the elements from as a child. So we just add and remove. We got the add command here, right? Where is it? Yeah, you just object.add, and that adds it as a child. So we could just add and remove them each time we want to cycle through the list. Or instead, just realized my cursor isn't showing, so let me put that on. But instead of going through the list there, we could also just add all of them and then set and remove visibility. But the thing is, we need to remember what objects we're putting in here. So if we've got 2 objects within the book panel, we need to be able to reference those again. For these ones, we're just sticking them in there and then we forget about them. We have no way to like find the third label in the list and then deal with it. unless we look at like the parent frame here, and we look at what it has access to, just the page panel. And we look, we've got add component, and then you can check how many are in there. Let's see, deliver, do, enable, able to say what you can find component at a position or a point. Alignment, baseline, border bounds, get component count, get component n. I don't know what, got the nth component in this container. Okay, so you can get the nth one. There's count, orientation. So if we maintain a strict rule that only pages are going to be added to our booklet panel, then we should be able to just treat this as our list and just iterate through it, hopefully. So maybe we'll just do that instead. We'll just add it, add all the objects to it, and then enable and disable as we want them. So for example, let's move this a little bit, and then let's see, we'll want a constructor. Okay, and then within this constructor, we don't actually need anything. What we need is add page, and from here you're going to take in page panel, the J panel, and we're just going to book panel dot add page panel. Okay, and we're also going to page panel dot set visible to false. So we don't want it visible once it's added here. Instead, what we want is display page method that takes in an int for now. And what we're going to do is find book panel get component n, which is going to be int I or int, I guess n is what they want to use. So n, we'll get that component, and then we'll set visible to true. And then we need to find the one that we're currently on. So maybe we'll just keep track of that internally here. Private int current page equals 0. As in no pages. Or I guess we'll make this -1. We're not on any current page. Okay, since this is going to be counting from 0, I assume. So then what we'll do is set current page equal to n after going to book panel get component current page set visible to false. Okay, and this will all be here we go. So if n is greater than or equal to 0, then we'll work on that one to make it visible. And if current page is greater than or equal to 0, then we'll make it visible. And that helps us deal with the the fact that we're going to start with a -1 here. All right, and then current page equals n. I guess we only want to do that here. And also, we don't actually want to make this invisible unless we're making this one visible. So technically, it's making one visible and then the other just invisible. It should really be the other way around, so that you don't get any overlap. But this is like, I'm hoping, going to be in the microseconds, so it shouldn't be noticeable. All right, so let's get back to main here. We got our page 1 renderer, and we'll want a page 2 renderer. Okay, and then we want a booklet renderer. Okay, and let me just rename this. Booklet renderer dot add page. Page one renderer. These are page one renderers, not page one. So what I want is page one. What I want is to make it a child frame. We have the method for that already. So I've kind of done it backwards. I don't need this add page here. But then we can't call set visible to false. But what we can do is for a page renderer, just set the visibility to false from the beginning. Okay, so pages will be false. We won't use this add page method because we already have a method there for that, and that gives us access to the page panel without having to expose it. So instead of add page, we do it the other way around. We have page one renderer dot make child of booklet frame, and page two renderer make child of booklet frame. All right, and then we get our booklet renderer dot display page 0. Okay, and then we don't want this to be a child anymore, right? So we need a different make child for our booklet reader now, renderer. And add the book panel to that parent. So we can have the booklet renderer make child of, not page one renderer, get rid of that, of the booklet frame. Yes, okay. So if we run this, I'm hoping we'll still see what we had before. No such child 0. Uh-oh, okay. That happened as part of this. So this is saying that it doesn't have any children. Okay, so did I call the methods wrong? We've got page one renderer, make child of booklet. No, not booklet frame, booklet renderer. I see. So this needs to actually get the frame out of it, though. Making a bit of a weird multiple relationship between all these objects. We've got like page renderer, booklet renderer. So how do I want to actually manage the relationships between these? Because if I want to make this a child, it has to take in a parent frame, right? But I don't have to make it that way. I can make it take in a page renderer. But then when it takes in a page renderer, it needs the JPanel in the end of the day. So let's return this. We'll only make a getter for it. Okay, and that means and we'll want one here as well. So just generate the getter for that. Okay, move it a little more out of the way. After the constructor. All right, and then from here, we should now be able to make this as a child by doing get book panel. Okay, is that better? Expects JFrame. Yes, no longer expects JFrame. You need a J panel, actually. I guess we could just make it J container, right? Doesn't have to be what's the parent of a J panel and a J frame? J component. That's what we want, not container. Parent component. Okay, and I think we just need to import this here. Yep. And we're going to do the same for booklet renderer so that we can move the hierarchy here without relying on panels or frames specifically. So we come back here, booklet renderer, make it a child of, make booklet renderer a child of booklet frame. Is this not a, let's see, they don't actually, I remember seeing a flow hierarchy of this. They actually are different. So instead of doing this silly make child thing, let's get rid of all these. Okay, we're just going to expose the individual panels for use, and then we'll add them in a much more logical way. This make child is not really necessary anymore. We're going to do that. So first of all, we want the booklet renderer get book panel dot add the page one renderer dot get page panel. Semicolon. Nope. Why am I getting more stuff here? Holy smokes. Pressing all the wrong buttons. Oh, jeez. Control Z is what I want. I want a semicolon here. And then I want to copy and paste. Jeez. All right. Page 2 renderer. Page 1 renderer. All right. And then we're going to display page 0. And we're going to make booklet renderer. We're going to get booklet. We'll just leave it as booklet frame for now, but it's not really what it needs to be called. Booklet frame add booklet renderer dot get book panel. Okay, and then we don't need this anymore. All right, and now hopefully we should be displaying the first page just like it was before. Nothing. Okay. What if we try page 1? Nothing. Okay. Well, it's something. So let's just double check our hierarchy. So the booklet frame contains the booklet renderers panel, and the booklet renderer panel contains page 1 and page 2 renderers. So if we go look at our booklet renderer here, we should be bumping into this method if we go into debug mode. Okay, we're going in with 0. And book panel here should have, I think, a components list. Yep, it's got an array list of components. It's got 2 of them. It's got 0 and 1, both JPanels. Okay. So if I just go... All right, let me make sure I get my shortcuts. So F6 to step over, right? And we want... I have my keyboard set to not use functions by default right now, so I have to press the function key at the same time. Okay, so if we do that, and then we go into here and check that component now, I wonder if this get component actually returns it, like a copy or a reference. So it should have gotten this one. And if we go all the way down to the bottom, there should be a visible, which is now set to true. Yes, okay. So that's good. It did what I wanted it to. And then let's get our F6. Current page is greater than 0. It's what? Current page. Ah, yes. Okay, I did these backwards. Okay. Because obviously I'm setting this here. It's getting replaced. I wanted this to happen after changing it. But when I moved some things around, that didn't happen. So we were just making it visible and then immediately making it invisible. So book panel N, set visible to true, and then current page, which is -1, set visible to false. And then current page becomes N. And we have this displaying page 0. But what happens if we try 1? Neither is working again, okay? So let's see. Now both of these pages actually have a border around them. So we would see the border if it was something as simple as like the text fields not being seen for some reason. On the constructor, we set visible to false, but then once down here, we set it to true. Oh, yes, of course. So we add it, right? I think we need to do a kind of refresh on the frame or the panel here. So after setting to visible and setting to true, I think you have to refresh or redraw. It might be in the frame. Refresh? Nope, maybe not. So what could that be? What we can try is just going into here and setting this to true, just to make sure that the parent-child relationship is working, which it doesn't seem to be if we get rid of this method call here. So we're not calling any display method, we're just adding them. Yeah, you know what I should be checking is get page panel, right, returns page panel. This is the actual thing, which is fine. Yeah, we're not copying we're not making any duplicates or anything. We're adding it directly, right? So the frame contains the booklet renderer, and the booklet renderer contains the pages, and the pages contain their texts. So what makes it now the case that panel, book panel to add? What makes it the case now that these aren't visible? If we put let's say a breakpoint here, maybe, and then look at our booklet renderer, we can look at our book panel here, which has 2 components, each of them. You know what I may be doing is forgetting to make the booklet visible, but I'll come back to that. So, well, let's look at that first, right? So booklet, book panel, come all the way down to V. There's UI valid. Why is there no visible field on this? This is a panel just like all the others. Visible. There's no visible in there. Maybe that's why. So let's stop this and make sure that when we create a booklet renderer in the constructor, we set the book panel to be visible. Okay. How's that look? Still no good. So did we do anything else for the pages when we created it? We create the page panel. We give it a border, set the layout to null, made it visible. Yes, we want to turn off the layout for this as well, because otherwise it's going to end up in weird positions. Okay, but that still doesn't solve the problem. So we've got the panels set up the same way. We can give it a border just to see if it's loading. Okay, run that. So we got a border, okay, but its child elements are not being displayed. Why not? We've got page 1 render. When you make a new page renderer, visibility is true. Visibility for all these should be true by default. Okay, let's debug again. Take a look at the objects. So within booklet frame, we haven't added it yet. So within booklet renderer, we have our book panel, which is visible. We have the border around it. But then within that, we have components. We We have 2 panels, and each of them have their visibility set to true. Yeah, then within it, it's got all the different JLabels and text fields, which should also be visible, right? Go down here to V. Visible is true, yep. So all the labels and text fields are visible. So what makes this no longer visible? Is it the J panel and a J panel that has a problem? Is it because I didn't set any bounds? So for the page renderer, I didn't set any bounds for this page panel either. Really set it for this and just let it default. I think by default it fills up the screen. Thinking. Set layout to null here as well. Okay. Still the same. What happens if I add a text field in here directly to the booklet renderer? Here to here. So just add some text. Okay, and here. No, we don't need that. It's for the listing part of it. We need text on screen? We got nothing. Nothing shows up. What's wrong with our panel? This other panel seemed to work fine. So do page 1 render get panel and add that instead of this. Okay, we've lost all our... What's happened here? Let me look through... I've got GitHub open on another window and just looking at what I've changed today. So we removed those methods. Page 2 renderer, we created that. We got book renderer. We removed the child thing. Page 1 renderer set visibility to true was in here before. So we could try re-adding like set visible to true on all these things. Even though they should already be visible. One and two. Yeah, their property is already true, so that shouldn't have been a problem. How about in-page renderer? In-page renderer, we're setting visibility to true. Frame.add. It's pretty odd. Page renderer is visible. We do get page panel. It's being added to the booklet renderer, right? And then okay, so let's remove these again. I'm pretty sure these are unnecessary. So we're going to add this, and then on this line, the frame should contain the full hierarchy. I was worried about, reflection and stuff for a moment. Not reflection, passing by reference. But we could see in here, we have our JRoot pane, which contains what is this? We've got a J panel and a J layered pane. Okay, but the J panel should be ours. So if we go down to V, I guess I didn't give any of them names, so we could. But visible is set to false on this one, actually. So is this ours? Is this the one, if we look at the components in this? This one contains nothing. No, this isn't ours. Or it is, and it isn't containing our things correctly. Within here, we have a J panel. Again, this one has a J panel again. A lot of this is maybe automatically created. All right, and then here we have our two J panels. So this should be our 2 pages. Okay, and if we go all the way down to the V's, visible is true on both of these, I'm sure. So go up one, this component, visible for this one is also true. So that should be our book right here. And then there is something up above this, which I'm not sure what it is. Its visibility is true. It's some J panel. There's like another J panel involved here. But above that, we have another thing where visibility is true. So we have a layered pane. And then this should be the actual, all right, we got the JRoot pane, which is visible. Okay. And then we have the actual, this thing is false. This one is the booklet frame, but we're going to make it visible right here, right? So 6 all the way over, and then booklet frame now pops up. Claims to be visible, but we're not seeing anything. Booklet frame. Valid. Actually, visible is still set to false, oddly. Even though we just called set visible. Is there something blocking that? Show B. If B is true, show, else hide. Exciting. If it's not visible, oh boy. If parent is not null, invalidate the parent. Visible is true, mix on showing, component peer. Peer is not null. Set visible to true, create hierarchy of events. Peer is an instance of lightweight peer, repaint. Is this what we need? The repaint? Was it not redraw or refresh? Update cursor immediately. But still, we've set visible to true here. I don't see why. What else do we have here that was changed by that? And notify is focus traversable overridden. Font background. Event cache dispatcher. Before first show. Visible is false. That's weird. Booklet frame, right? It's this guy up here. Huh. So booklet frame. If we just take out these here and then run. Sorry, not run, but debug. Does the say that it's visible? I mean, it doesn't make sense for it to be invisible. The whole frame is there. But now it says visible is true here. So that does kind of concern me. Because if we add this now, can we see just the frame? The booklet is supposed to have a renderer. Yeah, this one, even if it doesn't have anything in it, it's still supposed to have a line border. So if we now run a debug and look at this again, visible is true. Okay, so it's visible is true. And then when we look at the component, we've got two, right? Or in this case, we've only got one, which is the JRoot pane. And the JRoot pane is visible. And within that JRoot pane, we have our JPanel and our JLayered pane, which I think is what's holding our, our book panel here, which doesn't have anything in it. So it's an empty list, right? Or no. Maybe we can give these some names so that we can tell what they are. So when creating a new booklet renderer, set name to booklet renderer. Okay, we'll do the same for the page. Not that, we want the page panel, right? So now we look inside here. There should, I was hoping there's a name field. HIJKLMN. This one has a name of frame 0. So we got frame 0. And then within that, we have JRoot pane, which has a name of null. Okay, sure. And then within this, we have JPanel. So we have a JPanel here that's just null.glassPane. I think that's part of the root frame stuff. Then we have this one, which is called layered pane, null.layered pane for some reason. And then we get back to our components. This one right here should be ours, our booklet. Nope, this is null.content pane. All right. Here, this one must be ours, right? Yes, booklet render. Okay, and booklet render visible is true with the 0. That's our hint there. All right. The bounds for these aren't set. I know. I thought it was supposed to default to the parent, though. Maybe it only does that depending on the order of some sort. But that's fine. All we have to do is, when creating the page renderer, we want to set bounds. No, I want the X, Y, 0, right? So I just want to set the size, really. And I'm going to use that constant that we have. Just right here. Page dimensions. I also want to use that here. I think we'll remove that at some point. Dimension D, page, right, it's constants. Not page dimensions. Okay, and then in page renderer, set size, booklet renderer, Book panel, set size. All right. Okay, well, we have a panel that's visible. Oh, yes, and then we have to go back here. We haven't actually added the pages back to the booklet. There we go. All right, and they're kind of overlapping each other because we've got them both visible. We want to undo that so that when you're making a new page, it is not visible. And we will make it visible as part of calling it. So that's make visible 0, right? And then this is display page 1. So now it says all this one, the second page. Awesome. Okay, so now we got a method for paging. Now we need an actual way to control the paging. Okay. Great. Just need to manage something here real quick. So I think for paging, we could either have buttons on the screen, and then you just, let's just bring it up. Either buttons on the bottom of the screen or something like that, like a left arrow and a right arrow. And that could be cool because you could also put images in there and you can kind of stylize it. But you could also just use like the left and right arrow keys. We could also do both, just tie them to the same thing. So since I don't have any, I mean, we don't need any images, we could just fill it in with just a box. Probably want to do both. But I think the buttons will look nicer, so let's start with those. I'd rather have those. If I had to pick between one of them, I think I'd rather have the visible buttons. Though it's a bit more difficult because we have to make sure the positioning is correct. So we need something here. We need something to control the buttons, right? Or we can put this as part of the booklet renderer. But we need, yeah, we probably don't need another class. We could put this in the booklet renderer. And within here, private final JButton previous page button equals new JButton. Does that work? Import. Okay. And we'll put this like brief. I think you can give it some text, right? And it'll show up that way. And then this one will be next page button. So next. And right now this is text. Maybe I can replace this with an image later. So when constructing, oops, Control Z there. All right, when constructing and setting all this up, we need to also set up these previous and next page buttons. So first of all, we don't need the layout, but we do want the visible, and we don't need this size, but we do need some size. We need to set really the bounds. Okay. We could set a border, and we need to make sure we're actually messing with these right now. Layout shouldn't matter. Visible, again, these should all be visible by default. We don't need to... these ones want to be false. But it should be visible by default. So there we go. Yeah, that one's there. All right, and then we want to set the bounds and just give it a little border so that we could see it. And we want to do that for both the pages. But here's our X. So I'm just going to set this all the way to the left. And want this one to be at, let's go to our constants. And make a couple values for, yeah, let's make a dimensions, final dimension for the page buttons. So new dimension, and we'll make it, let's say 100 by, these ones are only like 30, right? So like 25. Or yeah, let's do 30. Sure. We'll see what that looks like once we actually get it up. So I want this one to be at book panel dot get. How do I get the height minus constants dot page button dimensions dot get height. Okay, so basically I want this to be, if the whole page is 600, I want to put this Y position at 600 minus however tall my button is. It's going to put the top left corner of the button at this position. So if we just put it at 600, then the very top of the button, which is a 0, or it may just be a line, would be at the 600th pixel, and then the rest of the button would be off the frame. So we need to subtract up by the height of our button so that the bottom of the button is at the 600th pixel. So this should put it at the very bottom left once we define the height and width here. I believe it's width and height rather, so X, Y, and we also need to make this not, I think you have to actually use this. Okay, and then here for height and here for width. We could do this a little better. Let's, instead of doing bounds, let's do set size. And then set position. I've done that backwards, but we'll fix that. I want this one to be size and this one to be position. Right. So position, set position. It's undefined for J button. Really? What is it called then? It's not set position. Is it set POS? Set horizontal text position. No, set location. Yes, location. That's the one. Okay, set location and size. Let's see if this button is showing up yet. Doesn't look like it. Previous page button has a border. Okay, so our button should have a border, so it should be visible. The location, it was never added to the book panel. We have to add it as a child. So book panel, add, component, previous page button. Let's run that again. Still no. Okay. So we've set the location of the previous page button to be at 0. And then should be 600 minus that, right? So let's put a breakpoint here and see if this is actually getting the correct location. Alignment X, I think I want to go all the way down to X and Y, right? So yeah, 0 and 570 are the position. The book panel has no layout, so it should be just putting it right where we tell it to. And then we're going to set the size here. So when we go to the height, GH, height is 30 and width is 100. Okay. And then we're giving it a border. Okay, so if this isn't working, what we could try first is we could leave the size, but let's try again with the location. With just put it like near the middle of the screen. Okay. There it is. Okay. So what's your problem? Maybe it is not using the top left of it for its positioning. Looks like it is here. So now if we set this to 566. Yeah, it just goes off the screen. It's down here. Okay. My window wasn't big enough to show it. But this is the bottom. What dictates how big this window is when it opens? I thought that was controlled by this. What's going on with that? Do we need to... So if we add like 650, does that actually change how big the window is? Yes. But it still doesn't show the whole thing. It might be because of the top of the window bar here, which is a bit unfortunate. I don't know why you would not account for that. So we want this to be 600. If we want that, then we need to go to booklet, frame, set height, set size. I guess you could only do size. So, you know, just whatever your width is, but we need to get that bit off the top. Like, how many pixels is that bar? I don't actually know what it's even called, like the proper word for it. Components, cursor, focus ball, glass pane. You saw that was a child component. I don't know how important it is. Menu bar. I think that's what we want. Hopefully. Can we get the size of this? Get menu count, accessible context, class, font, help menu, name, parent. That's no good. Do we want the parent? Class. Geez, we're going down a rabbit hole. Let me look at the get menu bar. Turn to menu bar, which is a menu component. Pretty sure that's what this is, right? It's a yeah, just launch the last working code. So we can look at it. Pretty sure this is the menu bar. Can we do something with the menu bar? So just search for menu. We can get menu bar. We can set the menu bar. There's two, though. Set the menu bar to the specified menu bar. Set the menu bar for this frame. I don't know why there's two of them, but we can try them out, see what happens. That doesn't look like it helped. I think the other one was set MB. Menu. Okay, it's J menu bar and regular menu bar. And we still got this guy up here, so don't know that it's related to that. What else could it be? Get window. Okay. That is actually get windows. So I don't know if I want that. Normal, maximize, left. Height? Does it actually... It's because this is in the way. I wonder if that actually prints it. Should be accessible in a static way. Okay. Get height? I mean... Yeah, it recognizes its own 600. Okay, let's see if I can pull up a search here for Java Swing. This is called a frame menu bar. What is it called? Menu height. Just factor that into the height. And let's do this and then bring this over here. So how do I set the width and height to a JFrame? That is a question that is easily answered, but we will get some more information. So draw, get height, get width, frame add component, frame add child. Not what we need. How to center a window. Create menu bar and menu item on frame. We can take a look at that since it's related to the menu bar. Output of the program. So that gives it this like extra bit below that for the menu bar. We want to deal with the thing above the menu bar. So maybe menu bar is not the right word. Frame. Shoot, this is like a word that I just don't know the name of. Like header, full height. I'm getting swings. All right, we've gone a little too far out of Java. I get specific window frame size. Fill the entire screen. What if we get using frame window height? Minimum size, resizing and positioning at JFrame. Okay, window information. This one sounds promising. For screen size, config.getBounds. What is config coming from? Graphics environment, get local graphics environment. Environment got maximum window bounds. Okay. Device. Config get bounds. This one looks handy. Let's grab some of this here. And just do some printing. Import all this stuff. Okay. So this will print out the screen bounds and the screen size, which will hopefully, well, I guess they'll still be 600. Okay, we just got objects there. That doesn't help. Oh, but here we go. No, the height. 1536 by 824 and 864. That doesn't sound right. Is that before or after setting it to 600? It's after, right? So we set the dimensions to 600, 600. Does it happen up here, maybe? That's odd. Why are the width and height so odd like that? I mean, what are these dimensions supposed to represent anyway? These pixels on the screen? Doesn't really say. I just kind of assumed that it was pixels. But actually, I guess with how large this window is, there's no way this could only be 600 by 600. So what does this actually represent? Point? Like 600 point? Well, I mean, if we're going to do that, we can also get the size of our frame here. Just see that we're printing it out in the same way. Booklet frame. And that one should say 600, 600, right? So I think I want the difference between the screen size and the screen bounds. So if we try that, we get config.getBounds, or rather, what screen size, right? Oh yeah, config getBounds dot get height. Okay, minus bounds dot get height. Okay, and then we just go back to the beginning here. Double frame header height, I guess we'll call that. Okay, that seems to work. Then what I want to do is booklet frame dot set. Can't do set height, unfortunately. Set size to 600, and then 600 plus this. And we need to make this work because you can't just do that. Can we just do this? Yes, hopefully. Okay, there we go, and it adds it, but it is not exactly the right amount, is it? Because now we got a few more pixels than expected. So what happens when we have this much smaller? Obviously it doesn't fit. What if I just set this to the height of this and then like compare them? No, see, this doesn't match at all. If we pause on adding this here, we'll just have an empty frame here, right? So put that back. And then what I want to try to do is see if we can set border. Do we get a border for this one? No. Is it maximum bounds? What is this? When a frame is in maximum state, it supplies some default bounds. I don't think there's any reason for us to have maximum bounds on this. So the height difference between the screen size and the screen bounds was 40. You know what? That doesn't make any sense again in the first place because these have the same width and height. Should be matching. If anything, the height should be bigger, so I shouldn't have grabbed that in the first place. So what else can we get? Because this is a square. It's 600 by 600. There's no way that these can be different. So with that in mind, how do I change these things? Or does it even, excuse me, does it even matter? Because I don't feel like it actually matters. So what else do we got? We got set size, set bounds, set location relative to. Okay. So we have set default look and feel decorated true for a frame. Default close operation. Set the title, the layout. It's just using a grid layout. 200 by 100 is what they set here. Wait. Yeah, they set. And then they're getting the screen size. So they do screen size, get width minus frame width, which would be 200. So get the width of your screen and then subtract 200. So I guess it like puts it all the way on the right side of your screen. Not following why you would want to do that. All right, we need to look up something very basic here. What is the part of the top of an application window called? Parts of a computer window. Is it the title bar? That's probably it. So can we find anything in here about the title bar? It's a string. We get the title. So let's find Java Swing JFrame title bar height. How do you get the height of the title bar? Mouse event, get point. Title bar into the Y portion. If I can find the height of the title bar in order to offset the Y value. Yes, you can find the frame insets by calling the getInsets method. Frame insets are discussed at the top of this frame API. You can always add your mouse listener to the content pane. Some other stuff there. So you can find the frame insets by calling getInsets. Frame insets are discussed at the top of the frame API. All right, I still don't know what insets are. You can only get them. Okay. Bottom. Bottom. Can we access out that? No, you can't access this. Maybe you can. Okay. Sure. 6. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. What can we get from insets here? Some object has a top. The inset from the top. Oh, maybe that's okay. So maybe there's like maybe the top was the one that we want to look at. 29. That sounds right. Hey. Okay, so if we do this one instead, and then bring the booklet frame back in, does this line up correctly? That's pretty close. All right, well, we want the top and the bottom, right? Not just the top. Over here, 600 plus the top plus the bottom. And then also for this, we want to do that for the left, right? I think these are ints, right? Yeah, we could just add them on top of each other. So plus this dot left. Oh, not top. Dot left. And dot right. How's that? Hey, look at that. It lines up just right by the looks of it. Okay, sweet. So now we got the actual size of the window correct. We don't need all this extra stuff here. Okay, let's set the size up here. Let's kind of store this information a little local here. Int width equals page dimensions plus page dimensions dot width get width plus left and right insets. Okay, and then the height will be this get height plus top and bottom here. Okay, and then with that, I don't know if we actually need this here, so we'll try it without it. So, oh, please undo. Here, set size to width and height. All right, constant page dimensions got get width. Type mismatch, can I go from double to int? Who's got a double? Who's providing a double here? Is it you? It is you. Can we cast you to int, please? And you as well. Okay. Up. And that did not work. So let's put that back. And then see. No. Okay, we broke it. Width was page dimensions get width plus left and right. And then height is get height plus and sets top plus bottom. And we set the size to width comma height. Let me copy this and go back to where it was working. Does this work? Where it's just doing it all in one line? This does not work. So I lost it a little further back. Does it work here? Works here. Okay. It may have to do something with setting it visible and setting the layout. So let's actually go back to here and put all that code we just snipped out right here. Let's see if this works. There we go. Okay. Now the one thing I am bothered by is the fact that I wanted this thing at the very bottom, but it looks like it's got an extra couple pixels there. But that sounds like a problem for the button and not for the menu, I'm hoping. Look at renderer. Oh, it's because I've set the location to 566. Ah, boy, now we're in trouble again. Yes, let's delete this and get this. Well, it was supposed to be 570. Okay, so that was it. That was the difference in 4. Yeah, there we go. Lines up perfectly. Okay, yes. All right, now we just need to do the same thing for the right button. Or rather, the next page button. Okay, so we want next page button, next page button, next page button, next page button. And over here, we want the X now to be modified as well. And the X is just going to be basically the same thing here, except with width. So get width, and here will be width. And then the height stuff still needs to be modified. And then the size, we've already got that defined. Let's see how that goes. There's errors. There's errors because previous page net. How did I do that? How did I do that and not notice? Okay. Here we go. We got previous next. We lost our. What happened? We lost. Real quick. We lost our text. How did this happen? Text is there. Add. Ah, I know why. Because these are now child elements of this. So, if we want page 0, int page, let's call this component number equals n plus 2 now, because we've got 2 child elements. And we have to use component number here instead of n. Okay. So we should still be displaying page 0. That was page 1, and now we want to display page 0. It should go back to displaying this one. Okay, awesome. So now we have the screen size set up correctly, and we got some buttons for paging. All right, now we have to make these buttons do something. How are we going to do that? I don't even know. I don't know what these buttons can do. So previous page button action. Okay, maybe that's what I want. Action, event, object, what? No, that is I think telling it that an action has occurred, maybe. Let's see, add key listener, add item listener, mouse listener. Is there just an on click? There's a do click. Programmatically perform a click. No, not what I want. Let's go all the way down to the O's. On, I guess I'll just type it out. Set action command. Is that the action command? That doesn't sound right. Action, add action. We can add an action listener. Action map. Remove action. You know, we don't need to look through this. This is a very simple use case. We just go to here. Java, swing, J button. Okay. Take a look at tutorials point here. Let's see, create image icon, show button demo, set text icon. Got a few different buttons here. Okay, so we grab our button, we add an action listener. And that action listener is when an action is performed, button clicked. All right, easy enough. Let's take this on over here. The action listener, we obviously don't want the OK button. We want this. And we just need to import these. Status label.set text. No, we don't want to do that. Let's for now just sys out. What is this? Prev button clicked. Just to make sure that that's working. And we'll do the same thing over here for next button. All right, so if we run this, even if we're not in debug mode, should see the console down there making changes, but it doesn't look like it's happening. Left, right, middle. No, doesn't look like anything's happening. Was there anything else I missed here? Add it to the control panel, where control panel is... What is control panel? Do we need a particular control panel for this? Hope not. Hope we can just click these buttons. It's a new J panel. Okay, it's just a panel. Though I say that, but it's importing. Well, that's not an import. It's just a, yeah, it's just here. I misread that. So yeah, we've just got a panel that contains some buttons and action performed, status label set text, where status label is a J label. If we put a breakpoint here and here, does this actually trigger the trigger things? Let's just resume and resume. So if I click this, okay, it is hitting this line. It's just not actually able to print. Oh, okay, it's printing now. What happened? Oh, stop everything. Am I just completely remembering Eclipse wrong? And you're not allowed to print to the console in run mode? Oh, it did. Oh, why is it delayed like that? Left, previous, next. Come back to here. Do I need to like then come back here? Left, right? When I close the window? What was that? It seemed like it popped up after some point. There it is. Previous, next, previous, next. What's going on with my console? Next. Previous. previous, next. I don't know if it's delayed or if it's just something to do with the with how the console is working, but for now, we have activity occurring, which is all we need. So, rather than this, what we want is to call display page. So, I'm going to display page current page plus 1. Now this one adds 2 to that, and current page equals component number. So we're going to end up adding 2 to it, and then saving it, and then adding 2 to it again. So let's just save n as the current page. Yeah, because the actual page that we want is 0. Okay, so we just want to add 1 to that. Let's see if we can go from page 0 to page 1. Incredible. If we click it again, I don't know, I guess it crashes or something. We don't need to worry about that. What happened to our previous button? Our previous button disappeared. It disappeared because we made it not visible. We made it not visible right here when we took current page instead of current page is greater than or equal to 0. Current page starts at -1, and then we do 0. Current page. No, we don't want to do current page. We want to do current page plus 2. What the heck happened down here? Top. Index out of bounds exception. Plus 2. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, yes. That was after I clicked the button again. All right, so we don't remove that now. If we click it again, we'll get the index out of bounds exception because we're trying for too many, which is fine. So for this one, we can do -1. It looks like it is just the console there's delayed in its output. All right, so we got our pages here. We can go to the next page and previous. Nope, we can't go to the previous page. Okay, why not? Take the current page plus. Oh, I did +1 twice. We need -1. Thought I had clicked that. I must have misclicked or just totally slipped my mind. But yes, previous, next. All right, we have paging between the different objects. Excellent. All right. So we've got our pages. It needs some more protections because right now it's just going out of bounds, right? So if n plus 2, well, we don't need to do that again. If component number is greater than book panel dot get component count, return. We just need to return. Yes, +2, or component number, I spelled that wrong, is less than 0. Then just return. We don't need to do anything. So let's see if this prevents the exceptions from occurring. Yeah, and then oh. We could go off to Neverland there. Component number, if we're telling you to go to -1, if component is less than, so if I send in page -1 because I want to go, I'm on page 0 and I want to go back 1. I send in -1, I add 2 to it, and it becomes 1. 1 is not greater than that, and 1 is not less than 0. Right, we don't want 0 here, we want 2. Because the first 2 components are just buttons. We don't want to actually scroll through those. So next, and then we can keep clicking next and not break anything, and then previous. Previous, we can keep clicking previous. And it's totally fine. The next button seems to like, I don't know, it seems to like having itself held in longer than the previous button. There we go. Now we can safely go back and forth between the pages. It's not going to crash or freeze up or anything. All right. That's pretty good. It's been almost an hour and a half, and we got some good progress here. So today, I'm just going to look through my GitHub real quick to get a kind of recap. We got the book renderer created. We got all the pages moved into it. Right now, actually, they're still being added manually here. So we need to just put this into a loop, basically. That's not a big deal. So we got our pages going into our book renderer. We got the window size corrected. Actually, that reminds me. Didn't check if this was necessary or not. Looks like it is not. So we can also get rid of this line. We're not setting the size twice. It just has to be done after one of these 2. Okay, we don't need that either. Just clean up. Get rid of some of this stuff. Booklet frame. That's this guy again. So actually we're setting the dimension in 3 different places. So let's get rid of it from there as well. Make sure it's still working. Yep, we are all good. Page 1, page 0. Awesome. All right, just a little cleaned up now. And we're just starting with display page 0. We can actually move this to, but we don't want to put it there. All right. What else did we have? In main, yeah, we got rid of all those methods that we're not using anymore. And that is it. So yeah, mainly we got the new hierarchy with the books, and then we got the paging system between pages, and the corrected the window sizing. Awesome. That's a good stopping point for today. Next time I want to, let's see, I want to get them loaded in more automatically instead of this 0 and 1 stuff here. And then see about replacing those buttons with images instead of just rectangles. Though I'm not opposed to leaving them as is if we need to. And then I guess I'll have to just see how to insert an image. I'll have to like create a dummy ping just to see if we can set the backgrounds for images. Set the background to an image. And then I think that'll be mostly it. I think we've got everything kind of split out into separate classes now as well, so that's okay. And then maybe just a little more formatting, because right now I think if we add too many fields, it'll just, if you see this, just goes off the bottom. Ideally, we want that to wrap around the top. So what we need, and also I don't want this right at the very top. So just a little more formatting on this, and to make sure that if the Y position is greater than the frame, that, what do I want to do then? Just, and we might have to set up like a matrix almost to do it that way. I know the flow layout can kind of control that. But oddly, the layouts and the flow order and all those things, you could define it like left to right, and you could center it. But it had like notes in the source comments about how you could make it go down here, but it was only in reference to like if you set the language or the locale to Mongolian or something like that. I guess it had to do with the, like language flow. So its intended purpose wasn't really for this, I guess. And I didn't see a method to properly do it. They only gave one for left to right or right to left. They didn't provide the up-down ones, which was odd. I don't know why they had the comments in there explaining how to do it, but then not provide access to actually do it. Oh well, you know, we'll do it ourselves. So we can make the XY when the Y goes over a certain point. we'll increase the X and set the Y back to 0. And that way we can fit 2 or 3 columns in here if we want to make the window wider. All right, so let's take note of that real quick. So I want to get the text in the correct positions. Attempt background image loading, replace buttons with images as well, and load in list of pages automatically, not by index. Okay, some good notes. So that'll be all for today. I'll probably come back to this maybe, I don't know, it might be a few days or it might be next weekend. We'll see. Thanks.